This is the Imperial Space Station, an alternate build inspired by the UCS Death Stars and the Master Builder series Cloud City set. Made out of the new Imperial Star Destroyer and one TIE Interceptor Polybag, this build has a really fun concept to it that might seem a bit familiar, because I did it before with the Coruscant Guard gunship. That being taking a larger flying vehicle and transforming it into a landscape-based or diorama-style build. The original Star Destroyer set was super cool, and I really didn't want to take it apart. These large cruiser and destroyer sets are far and few between, so I'm always partial to them when they come around. But this one isn't without flaws. Mainly on the inside, the exterior is wonderfully done by LEGO. The paneling is done great with a mix of tiles and ingots, and the play features and carrying handle are well integrated into the build without taking away from the look of the set. But when we open it up is where I start having some issues. As I was writing the script for this video, I was getting ready to call this interior a huge cop-out from previous versions, and that it was relatively lackluster. But after writing those segments, they felt way too harsh. I still think there's some issues on this interior, mainly the fact that it's sparsely populated. Everything is pushed against a wall so as to take up as little space as possible, but in doing that, it seems very plain. There's no real mass back here. We only get a small desk and this poor excuse for a medical station, then two large control monitors and this hollow table on the right, which is honestly probably the coolest part of the interior. It depicts details like a Star Destroyer itself and an enemy ship using just a few parts. But then beyond that, it's a little bland in here. The front section is fine, except for the fact that this trooper isn't facing a control panel. I get it's a cramped space up here, but it still looks very lazy, and it sort of takes away from the fun and imaginative idea that this minifigure might actually be doing something when you're playing with the set. Despite all that, I still enjoy the set and its minifigures enough that I kept it together for as long as I could before beginning this alternate build. And I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. The Imperial Space Station might not be the best name, but Death Star Interior or ISD Interior don't quite have the same ring to it. Before the build though, we'll look at the minifigures. I try to do purest upgrades where I can, but there's not much I can do here without buying the UCS Imperial Figs, so we'll just add in a Rebel Fleet Trooper with dual molded legs for some opposition, then bring in some customs to spice it up a bit more. The Rise Customs Imperial Authority Trio works great to expand the ranks of our officers. Then Light Customs Thrawn 3-pack will bring a very significant presence to the lineup of minifigures. It came with 3 different versions of Thrawn over his time in the Empire. One of them is his battle armor, which looks great, but probably won't see much use inside the station. The other 2 being normal Grand Admiral and Admiral uniforms respectively make a lot more sense in this environment. The last custom I want to include in this alternate build is the Inquisitor Kestis by QuietBrickhouse. The Jedi games are ripe for some great customs, and QuietBrickhouse doing this fan-loved alternate version of Cal as their first ever minifigure is amazing, and there's no way I couldn't put him in this video. I didn't leave out the original Kestis though. I made some play features specifically for him so that way the entire lineup of original minifigures have a place in the alternate build. As mentioned, the build is inspired by the Master Builder series Cloud City, except on a smaller scale. That set has many rooms and sections, while this one only has 2 large sections along with some play features on the back. The left side of the build is a large command room. It has lots of control panels and screens and makes use of quite a few stickers to pull it off. 2 stickers go on these trans blue panels against the wall, with 2 more per each of these large display screens we've got in the corner. Then we've got the standard large Imperial conference table in front of those where you can see 4 minifigures. I took some design cues from the original holo table to make my command table, recreating the Star Destroyer and the enemy ship and holograms on top with a control panel on either side. There's also a small swiveling terminal in this room that uses another control panel and a sticker piece to make up its detailing. And the wall next to this terminal is a bit unsightly, so if you want to, you can move some crates that we'll see later in this build to hide some of these plates. To get through to the next room, we'll go through this doorway that uses 2 more stickers on the inside, then a control panel on either side as well. This side of the base is made up of a few small builds that make up the entire section. Right by the doorway we have this weapon rack I made, which I really like. It can only hold 4 blasters, but they fit perfectly on it. And so do the new Melnick and GCC blasters as well, which if you haven't seen those, I'll make a short on them soon. They are amazing. In the corner is the med bay. It features a medical bed on an elevated platform with this bedside lamp on top of a storage crate. Then there's a clip for some more medical supplies next to another terminal to tend to the patient. And I didn't think of it earlier in the Figs section of this video, but this is a great opportunity to use GCC and BrickDaddy's Emerie Karr with a swapped head as a stand-in for a medical scientist. Built into the wall next to the med bay, there's a small panel where we have the most important character of this space station stored away, the mouse droid. Then in the corner next to this doorway, we've got those storage crates we mentioned earlier, which if you move them to cover the plates in the other room, it does leave this corner a little bit empty, so I typically just leave them here. The centerpiece of this room is a large laser cannon. Heavily inspired by the cannons from the UCS Death Star, this features 2 spring-loaded shooters and can swivel 360 degrees as well as tilt up and down a little. And it of course seats 1 minifigure to control it. The last section of the Imperial space station is built almost exclusively for Cal Kestis. I didn't want to leave him out, so I built some video game inspired play features that allow him to sneak into the base. Using a control panel in the center, Cal can tap into the Imperial system, then parkour on these ledges between platforms to sneak into the base through this doorway or this platform above the command room. Then there's also this clip to store a lightsaber on the far side, with this bridge being able to fold in or out for a more compact display. The limited exterior of the space station features 3 turbo laser turrets and a very ill-placed slope brick. This is the first alternate build I designed digitally before I built it physically, so when I built this wall, I didn't realize there'd be a sticker on the slope, and when I built it physically, it was already too late, so it might be a good idea to swap those parts with an extra if you want to build this. Most prominently, we have a very large Star Destroyer style bridge right in the center. This was designed very late into the build, and I tried to use as many techniques from the original set to pull it off, and it's of course not perfect, but I'm really happy with how it looks given the parts that I had at that time in building. Let me know your thoughts on this alternate build down below, and if you want to build one for yourself, I have full PDF building instructions available on my Patreon page. This is actually the second Master Builder series inspired build I've designed. The first one was a massive Jedi Temple playset that I've revealed only to patrons, but if you want to see that come to life and be in a video, drop a like and let me know down below. Here's to hoping we can get a proper Master Builder series Death Star in the near future.